First contact deception. The Harmony Spire hung in the void like a silver needle threading the stars together. For 12 millennia, it had served as the beating heart of the Galactic Concord, a testament to cooperation between 73 spacefaring species who had overcome their primal instincts to build something greater than themselves. Today, the station pulsed with anticipation as it prepared to welcome its 74th member, humanity. Admiral Zyra Kell moved through the Grand Assembly Hall with practiced grace, her crystalline exoskeleton chiming softly with each step. As High Steward of the Concord, the responsibility of first contact fell squarely on her 4 shoulders. She had overseen the integration of 17 species during her 3-century career, and humanity would be her crowning achievement before retirement. Status Report Coordinator Thrix, she addressed the hovering gelatinous form beside her. The Melbari Security Coordinator's translucent body flashed patterns of blue and green. All preparations proceed according to protocol, Admiral. The human vessel has been detected at the edge of the system, approaching at sublight velocity as requested. Environmental adaptations are complete, translation matrices calibrated, and welcome ceremonies rehearsed. Excellent, Admiral Kell's compound eyes surveyed the assembled representatives, and our observers' final reports. Consistent with previous assessments, Thrix replied. Humans appear to be standard carbon-based omnivores with remarkable adaptive capabilities but unremarkable technology. Their social structures suggest they will integrate well after the usual adjustment period. The Melbari's body darkened slightly around the edges. Though I must note, the Vexillian delegation has expressed concerns about humanity's fractious history. The Vexillians express concerns about everything, Kell dismissed with a wave of her upper limbs. Every young species has a violent past. It's why they reach for the stars to escape their primitive instincts. Ambassador Jorex of the telepathic Newer drifted closer, his gaseous form rippling with thoughts Kell could partially perceive. I sense your confidence, Admiral, but I've reviewed the observation records myself. Humans are unusual. Their entertainment broadcasts alone contain more scenarios of conflict than the combined historical archives of 12 conquered species. Cultural metaphors, Kell replied. The Dravnii expressed themselves through ritualized combat simulations before joining us. Now they're our foremost artists. The Dravnii didn't develop planet-killing weapons before achieving reliable solar flight, Jorex countered. Before Kell could respond, the station's AI chimed throughout the chamber. Attention, human vessel approaching docking parameters. Estimated arrival 6 minutes. The assembly settled into position, representatives arranged in concentric circles according to their joining date. The newest members closest to the center, where humanity would soon stand. A sign of the Concord's philosophy, those with the least experience were placed where they could be best supported by all. Remember, Admiral Kell addressed the assembly, humanity has been studying our transmissions for less than 2 decades. They will be overwhelmed, possibly frightened. Be gentle, be welcoming. This is a momentous day for them. The main viewing portal shimmered to life, displaying the approaching human vessel. It was unexceptional, a utilitarian design of metal and composite materials, propelled by fusion engines that the Concord had considered obsolete for 8,000 years. The ship decelerated with textbook precision, docking exactly on schedule. See, Kell murmured to Thrix, punctual and protocol observant, an excellent start. The airlock connecting to the Harmony Spire's central chamber cycled open right on schedule. The assembly held its collective breath, or equivalent respiratory pause, as the first humans to officially enter galactic society stepped forward. 5 figures walked into the chamber with unhurried confidence. They wore sleek black uniforms bearing no insignia or rank, their only adornment a small silver pin depicting Earth. At their center walked a tall, broad-shouldered man with silver-streaked black hair and eyes that seemed to catalog and dissect everything they fell upon. Greetings, representatives of the Galactic Concord, the man spoke, his voice carrying perfectly without amplification. I am Director Nathaniel Frost of Earth's Interstellar Relations Division. My associates, Dr. Eliza Warren, evolutionary theorist, Marcus Reed, security specialist, Darius Patel, linguist, and Naomi Zhang, tactical analyst. Something in the human's bearing made Admiral Kell's instincts flare with warning. These were not the wide-eyed, awestruck representatives of a young species making first contact. These humans moved with the calculated precision of apex predators entering new hunting grounds. Still, protocol was protocol. Director Frost, welcome to the Harmony Spire. I am Admiral Zyrakel, High Steward of the Galactic Concord. We are honored to. You've been watching us for centuries, Frost interrupted smoothly. Monitoring our broadcasts, analyzing our languages, judging our development. Tell me, Admiral, in all that observation, what did you actually see? A ripple of unease spread through the assembly. This was not how first contact was supposed to proceed. We observed a young species taking its first steps toward interstellar community, Kell replied carefully. We saw great potential for. You saw what we wanted you to see, Dr. Warren stepped forward. She was smaller than Frost, with keen eyes and hands that moved with surgical precision as she activated a holographic projector. While you monitored our public broadcasts, we intercepted your observation drones. While you translated our languages, we decoded your secure transmissions. While you assessed our primitive technology. The hologram flickered to life, displaying not the Earth that the Conquered had observed, but something entirely different. Cities that merged seamlessly with military installations. Orbital platforms that disguised planet-killer capabilities as weather regulators. A lunar base that had somehow remained completely hidden from Conquered observation. This is impossible, Coordinator Thrix's body pulsed with alarm patterns. Our stealth technology is based on fundamental quantum principles. No emerging species could. Could what? Security Specialist Reed interjected, his stance shifting subtly to something more predatory. Develop quantum manipulation before mastering interstellar travel. Crack encryption you thought was unbreakable. See through your invisible observation posts. Ambassador Jorex drifted forward, his gaseous form condensing with concentration as he attempted to read the human's thoughts. After a moment, he recoiled violently. Their minds, he gasped, they're shielded, completely opaque. Director Frost smiled thinly. Of course they are, Ambassador. We detected your telepathic emissions decades ago. Developing countermeasures was a simple precaution. The tension in the chamber had become palpable. Admiral Kell struggled to regain control of the situation. Director Frost, I don't understand. If you possess such advanced technology, why present yourselves as a developing species? Why accept our invitation to join the Conquered? Join, linguist Patel laughed, the sound sharp and without humor. Admiral, we're not here to join your peaceful collective. Tactician Zhang stepped forward, her movements fluid and measured. Every species in this room evolved through cooperation and collective survival. You all followed the same evolutionary path, prey species who learned to work together to survive. The hologram shifted, displaying human history, not the sanitized version the Conquered had observed, but stark images of warfare, conquest, and relentless adaptation through conflict. Humans evolved differently, Dr. Warren continued. We are predators who learned cooperation, pack hunters who maintained our lethal edge while developing complex societies. We didn't overcome our violent nature, we channeled it, refined it, and ultimately weaponized it. Another shift in the hologram. Earth's military capabilities, technological innovations that should have been centuries beyond their development stage, strategic models that made the Conquered's defense systems look childish by comparison. Your Conquered has created perfect stability, Director Frost said, circling the central platform. 73 species living in harmony without conflict, without competition, without evolution. You've stagnated, Dr. Warren added. 12,000 years of peace has left you vulnerable. The universe doesn't reward stability, it rewards adaptation. And adaptation requires pressure, Reed continued. Conflict, challenge, the very things your Conquered has systematically eliminated. The implications hung in the air like a blade. Admiral Kell's crystalline form resonated with stress harmonics as she finally understood what was happening. You're not here for peaceful contact, she whispered. What exactly are you here for? Director Frost's smile didn't reach his eyes. We're here to hunt. Panic rippled through the assembly. Hunt what? Ambassador Jorex's form swirled with distress. Inefficiency, Frost replied. Complacency, the illusion of safety that has left this galaxy defenseless against real threats. Consider humanity a correction to your evolutionary course, Patel added. A predator introduced to an ecosystem that has forgotten how to adapt. Coordinator Thrix's security protocols finally activated. Defense drones emerged from recessed panels throughout the chamber, surrounding the human delegation with weapons primed. Zhang observed coolly. A security response. How promising, at least some of your instincts remain intact. With a casual gesture, she activated something on her wrist. Every drone in the chamber froze, then dropped to the floor, deactivated. "We've spent the last 200 years preparing for this moment," Director Frost explained, as if lecturing particularly slow students. "While you watched our television shows and dismissed us as primitives, we were studying you, your technologies, your psychologies, your weaknesses." Dr. Warren activated another display. "Your quantum shields, we've been passing through them undetected for decades. Your translation matrices, we embedded subliminal programming that conditioned you to see us as non-threatening. Your secure communications, we've been reading them since before most of you were born." "Impossible," Admiral Kell managed. "Our systems are based on universal constants that cannot be." "Cannot," Reed interrupted, his voice sharp with contempt. "Humans don't acknowledge cannot. We see it as a challenge." The display showed recording after recording of supposedly secure conquered communications, military deployments, technological specifications, all laid bare with embarrassing accuracy. "Why reveal yourselves now?" Admiral Kell asked, her voice steady despite her fear. "If you possess such power, why not simply conquer?" Director Frost's expression shifted to something almost pitying. "Because conquest is crude, inefficient. We don't want to rule you, we want to transform you, to force you to evolve or face extinction." "Natural selection," Dr. Warren added, "accelerated to galactic scale." "Your military forces outnumber ours thousands to one," Zhang acknowledged. "Your ships are more numerous, your territories vast. In a conventional conflict, you would eventually overwhelm us." "But humans don't fight conventionally," Reed continued. "We hunt, we stalk, we identify weakness and exploit it, we turn our prey's strengths against themselves." The human delegation formed a loose circle, somehow making the entire galactic conquered feel surrounded despite being vastly outnumbered. "Consider this your formal introduction to humanity," Director Frost announced. "We're not ambassadors, we're not diplomats, we're predators, and we've just entered your territory." Dr. Warren smiled, showing teeth that evolution had designed for tearing meat. "The hunt begins now." With that, they vanished, not through any visible teleportation technology, not with any energy signature or displacement effect. They simply ceased to be present, as if they had never been there at all. Only the lingering displays remained, showing the terrifying truth of what had just walked into their midst. Admiral Kell stared at the empty space where the humans had stood, her exoskeleton cycling through colors of fear, confusion, and most disturbing of all, a primal recognition that had lain dormant in her species for millennia. The galaxy had wanted to welcome humanity to their peaceful community. But humanity hadn't sent ambassadors. They'd sent hunters. The hunt begins. 3 hours after the human delegation vanished from the council chamber, the Harmony Spire descended into calculated chaos. Admiral Zyra Kell stood in the emergency command center, her crystalline exoskeleton dulled with stress as she watched the station systems fail one by one. Not catastrophically, that would have been easier to address, but in subtle, insidious ways that eroded confidence and sowed confusion. "Report," she demanded, her voice unusually harsh. Coordinator Thrix's gelatinous form pulsed with agitation. "Communication systems are functioning at 30% efficiency. Messages arrive corrupted, delayed, or worse, slightly altered in ways that change their meaning. Environmental controls are fluctuating by species preference zones. The methane breathers report temperatures rising to uncomfortable levels, while the photosynthetics are experiencing reduced light spectrums." "Life support?" Kell asked sharply. "Stable, but the monitoring systems show ghost readings. We're manually verifying all data." Ambassador Jorex floated nearby, his gaseous form contracted tightly, a sign of extreme distress among the newer. "It's more than systems, Admiral. My people are experiencing intrusions, stray thoughts, violent impulses. Someone or something is broadcasting on telepathic frequencies we believed impossible to access." The Vexillian delegate, Sentinel Morvac, slammed his armored fist on the command table. "The humans are targeting our species-specific vulnerabilities. The Hivemind collectives are receiving individuality viruses. The empathic races are being bombarded with engineered emotional spikes. Even my warriors are affected. Our neural implants are receiving combat overrides." Kell's mandibles clicked in frustration. How could they possibly know so much about our physiologies, our technologies, our psychologies?" "They told us," Thrix replied, color patterns shifting to resignation. They've been studying us for centuries while we thought we were studying them. The command center doors opened unexpectedly, admitting a delegation of conquered scientists led by Professor Lindex, a spindly Quantian whose 8 eyes blinked asynchronously in agitation. Admiral, the professor's translator, rendered his ultrasonic speech patterns. We've completed our analysis of the human technological demonstrations. The results are troubling. Speak plainly, Professor. They're not bluffing. Lindex gestured with 3 limbs simultaneously, activating holographic displays. We've confirmed quantum field manipulations throughout the station that should be theoretically impossible. They're not hacking our systems, they're altering the underlying physics. A silent pall fell over the command center. There's more, Lindex continued reluctantly. We've detected subtle changes in our archived observation data of Earth, records that we believed secure show evidence of long-term manipulation. The humans have been editing our perceptions of them for generations. But why reveal themselves now? Ambassador Jorex wondered. If they've possessed such capabilities all along, what changed? Before anyone could theorize, the display screens throughout the command center flickered, then resolved to show a human face. Not one of the 5 who had introduced themselves earlier, but a woman with dark skin, silver-white hair, and eyes that held the cold calculation of a predator assessing prey. "Greetings, Admiral Kell," she said, her voice emerging simultaneously from every speaker on the station. "I am Director Olivia Caldwell, Earth Strategic Integration Command. I trust my colleagues made an impression." Kell straightened, forcing dignity into her posture. "Director Caldwell, your colleagues threatened the peace of 73 civilizations. They spoke of hunting us. Is this how Earth conducts diplomacy?" Caldwell's smile was thin and sharp. "Diplomacy is a luxury of equals, Admiral. We are not equals." "Then what do you want?" Kell demanded. "Evolution," Caldwell replied simply. "Your Concord has created perfect stasis, a galaxy frozen in time. No competition, no conflict, no adaptation. You've embraced entropy while congratulating yourselves on achieving peace." Her image was replaced by a complex mathematical model that pulsed and shifted, showing the rise and fall of civilizations throughout a simulated galaxy. "This is your Concord's future without intervention," Caldwell's voice continued over the display. 12,000 years of peace, followed by catastrophic collapse when faced with an external pressure you've forgotten how to handle. Professor Lindex studied the equations with growing alarm. These models incorporate 7th-dimensional game theory. Even our most advanced predictive systems only reach 5 dimensions. The display shifted again, showing a different outcome. The same civilizations facing pressures, adapting, evolving, and ultimately flourishing in more complex forms. "And this," Caldwell continued, "is your potential future with human intervention. Painful, yes, disruptive, certainly, but ultimately leading to survival and advancement beyond anything your current paradigm allows." Admiral Kell's compound eyes narrowed. "And we're simply to take your word for this, accept your hunt as some form of benevolent predation." Caldwell reappeared, now joined by Dr. Eliza Warren from the first delegation. "Of course not, Admiral," Warren answered. "We expect resistance. We'd be disappointed without it. Resistance is the first sign of adaptation." "Which brings us to the purpose of this communication," Caldwell added. "Your current defensive strategies are predictable to the point of irrelevance. We're giving you 72 hours to develop something more interesting." "Or what?" Sentinel Morvac demanded. "Or we escalate," Warren replied, her tone suggesting this should have been obvious. "The current pressure is roughly 15% of our capability. We're curious to see who adapts first." The transmission cut abruptly, leaving the command center in stunned silence. "They're playing with us," Morvac growled, his battle armor shifting restlessly. "No," Professor Lindex corrected, still studying the mathematical models that remained frozen on the screens. "They're conducting an experiment. We're being selectively pressured to trigger specific evolutionary responses." Something in the professor's tone caught Kell's attention. "You sound almost impressed." "Scientifically speaking, it's brilliant," Lindex admitted. "Morally reprehensible but methodologically sound. They're targeting different species with different stressors to catalog our adaptive capabilities." "So we're laboratory specimens." Jorex's gaseous form swirled with indignation. "More like," Lindex searched for the analogy. an ecosystem being studied by ecologists who have introduced a new predator to restore balance. Admiral Kell turned to Coordinator Thrix. Assemble an emergency council. All species representatives, highest diplomatic and military authority. We have 72 hours to prove we haven't forgotten how to adapt. 48 hours later, the Grand Assembly Hall had been transformed into a war room. The previously orderly arrangement of diplomatic stations now formed a chaotic but purposeful command center. Representatives from all 73 species worked in unexpected configurations, traditional rivals collaborating, ancient allies challenging each other's assumptions. The hunt had begun in earnest. Throughout the station and across conquered space, human provocations escalated. Communication networks collapsed, then rebuilt themselves with new protocols. Defense systems failed only to be reborn with novel countermeasures. Cultural exchanges that had been ceremonial for millennia became frantically pragmatic as species shared technological and biological innovations long kept as cultural patrimony. Admiral Kell moved through the organized chaos, her exoskeleton now reinforced with technology borrowed from 3 different species. She had slept only 6 hours in the past 2 days, but a strange energy sustained her, something primal and long buried in her genetic memory. Admiral Professor Lindex called, his workstation surrounded by a diverse team of scientists. You need to see this. Kell approached, nodding with approval how the normally reserved Quantian now worked comfortably alongside historically antagonistic Melbari and Vexillian colleagues. We've been analyzing the human psychological warfare techniques, Lindex explained. They're not random. They're targeting specific neural and social pathways, the exact ones that went dormant when each of our species joined the conquered. Meanings. They're reactivating our evolutionary engines. A new voice joined the conversation. Dr. Eliza Warren stood casually by the workstation, having appeared without triggering a single security protocol. Impressive adaptation, by the way. Your new quantum encryption took our systems nearly 6 minutes to penetrate. That's 5 minutes 50 seconds longer than your previous best. Security personnel surrounded Warren immediately, weapons drawn. She ignored them completely. Your species evolved through different mechanisms, Warren continued, addressing the assembled scientists as if delivering an academic lecture. Some through collective defense, others through environmental pressures, a few through sexual selection. But all of you share one trait. Once you achieved interstellar travel and joined the conquered, your evolution effectively stopped. Natural selection requires pressure, Professor Lindex stated, echoing Warren's earlier words. Without predation, without competition, without scarcity. Without struggle, there is no adaptation, Warren finished. And without adaptation, there is only extinction, Lindex concluded. Admiral Kell stepped forward. So you claim to be saving us by hunting us, a convenient justification for aggression. Warren's expression hardened. Look around you, Admiral. 2 days ago, these species barely collaborated beyond ceremonial functions. Now they're sharing technologies, strategies, and biological innovations that have been hoarded for millennia. She gestured to a nearby workstation where Vexillian warriors and newer telepaths were developing a novel defense system that merged psychic shielding with kinetic barriers. The Hive collectives are developing individual initiative while maintaining group cohesion. The silicon-based species are experimenting with carbon interfaces. You're all changing, adapting, evolving. Under threat, Kell countered. Under pressure, Warren corrected. The same pressure that forged humanity. We didn't emerge as the dominant species on Earth through cooperation alone. We faced predators faster and stronger than ourselves. We endured ice ages and meteor impacts. We survived plagues and wars of our own making. She activated a holographic display showing Earth's history, not the sanitized version or the threatening one from earlier, but a raw, unfiltered view of human evolution. Struggle after struggle, adaptation after adaptation. Near extinctions followed by expansions. Technologies born from conflict that somehow advanced the species rather than destroying it. Each crisis forced us to adapt or die, Warren explained. We chose adaptation even when it hurt, even when it meant sacrificing comfortable illusions of safety and stability. The display shifted to show something unexpected, a massive, incomprehensible entity at the edge of the galaxy, moving slowly but inexorably inward. What is that? Professor Lindex asked, all 8 eyes fixed on the image. We call it the convergence, Warren replied grimly. An extragalactic predatory swarm that consumes everything in its path. Our long-range sensors detected it 300 years ago. At current velocity, it will reach the outer edges of conquered space in approximately 50 years. Admiral Kell's compound eyes widened. And you didn't think to warn us to share this information. In your current state, Warren laughed without humor. Your Concord would have debated response protocols for 20 years, formed study committees for another 15, and then developed defensive strategies based on 12,000-year-old military doctrine. She gestured around the room. But this adaptive chaos, this evolutionary pressure cooker, this is what will save you. Not unity through stagnation, but strength through forced evolution. The image zoomed out, revealing dozens of similar entities approaching from different vectors. The universe is not a peaceful place, Admiral, Warren said softly. It never was. Your Concord created a beautiful illusion, one that would have shattered completely when the convergence arrived. We're simply breaking it more gently, giving you time to remember how to be strong. Before Kell could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. Coordinator Thrix's form pulsed with urgency as he approached. Admiral, we're detecting quantum fluctuations throughout the system. Human ships, hundreds of them, decloaking at strategic points around every major conquered world. The main display showed the impossible unfolding. An armada that should not exist, could not exist, given Earth's observed capabilities. And yet there they were, vessels that drank in light, neither reflecting nor absorbing, but somehow doing both simultaneously. Director Caldwell's face appeared on the communication screen. 72 hours have elapsed, Admiral Kell. We've evaluated your adaptations and found them promising. Some of your species are evolving faster than others, but the trend is encouraging. She smiled, showing teeth. Phase 1 of the hunt is complete. Phase 2 begins now. The pressure increases, the weak will fall, the strong will evolve, natural selection at galactic scale. Dr. Warren moved toward the exit, pausing to look back at the assembled representatives. Consider this a gift, freely given, the gift of remembered strength. We're not here to conquer you or rule you. We're here to ensure you survive what's coming. Her final words echoed through the chamber long after she had vanished. The hunt continues, adapt or perish, the choice is yours. Admiral Zyrakel watched the human armada take position around the conquered worlds, feeling something she hadn't experienced in her 3 centuries of life. Not just fear, but something more primal and paradoxically more invigorating. The crystalline structure of her exoskeleton began to change, microscopic alterations reflecting newly awakened adaptations. Throughout the station, throughout the conquered, similar transformations were taking place. Species that had been locked in evolutionary stasis for millennia were remembering how to change, how to grow, how to become something new and stronger. The humans hadn't sent ambassadors or conquerors. They'd sent evolutionary catalysts. And somewhere at the edge of the galaxy, the convergence continued its inexorable approach, unaware that its future prey had found new predators of their own predators who hunted not to destroy, but to strengthen. The hunt had only just begun.